27th of February, 2025. I'm Lynn Lakakis, and I'm going to ask Rebecca to call the roll.
Sure, Madam Chairman. Lakakis? Alex? Here. Ethier?
Here.
Fine. Grayjoyce?
Here.
Kuhn? Simpson?
Here.
Drake? And Grimm.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Excellent. Let's start with number 1, approving the previous meeting minutes.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ethier.
I'll second.
Second, Maggie Alex. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We're going to take number 4 out of order, which is approving a collective bargaining agreement with the District Attorney's Investigators Unit Local 294, International Brotherhood of Teamsters, and amending the 2025 District Attorney's Office budget. We have Mr. Kinlan, Mr. Collins, and Mr. Maney. Good evening. Sorry.
Good evening.
Floor is yours.
Oh, thanks. I apologize, this is my first time here. Good evening, everybody. My name is Lee Kinlan. I'm joined by my Chief Assistant District Attorney, Joe Maney, and another attorney from my office. My picture of all things, my compliance officer, my ethics officer, Pat Collins, who I know you all know well. We're here tonight asking for your approval of a collective bargaining agreement between the District Attorney's Office Investigators Unit Local 294 and the county.
Make a motion. I have a question.
Of course, Mr. Grimm.
They try to keep we have an awful lot of contracts, union contracts with the county. They generally try to keep in the same area. Have you had any communication with the county executive, or is this just your own perspective on things?
Understand the question?
The Director of Employee Relations negotiates the contracts, so he is an arm of the executive.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it does.
Like, we don't negotiate
Yeah.
with our staff.
Yeah, I was an audience to this, not a participant.
Okay.
That's,
Are you comfortable that you can get the work done with the current budget?
with my current overall office budget or with
Yeah,
this?
Yeah, I'm curious about the overall, because I'm sure there were changes that you felt were needed.
Yes, and I think perhaps next month is when we're doing a proposed budget amendment. We do have some, well, understated, we do have some asks next month. But here tonight, I just want to keep focus on
The contract.
the contract with our
Excellent. Me
investigators.
too.
It's important for us to take care of.
Mr.
Thank
Grimm, do you
you.
have any more questions about the contract?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No more questions.
Anybody else have any questions?
Can I make a motion now?
You may make a motion now, Mr.
Motion.
Ethier. Second, Mr. Joyce, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
It just seems like Mr. Ethier is really on top of things now.
Hey, I'm your educator. I want to get the lecture.
You're really, you're having one step out of us.
Motion passes, thank you very much.
I finally got one.
Good to see everybody.
I know,
Thank
Bill's
you.
gonna be on it. Good job, your
Hey.
first meeting,
Hey,
yay!
good luck.
All right.
See you next month.
Yeah, look forward to next month.
If it goes this well next month, I'll be here every month.
Don't get carried away.
Right. All right, next we're going to take number 2, amending the rules and regulations for Albany County employees regarding health insurance benefits for retirees. I see Mr. Mayo. And Mr. Riley, Mr. Sagan.
No.
Oh, Lally, yes. Mr. Lally. Welcome.
I guess I'll start. Good evening, everybody. Just to kind of sum up, I was here last April, and I would like to thank Brandon Russell right off the bat because he's been working with me since that time. It's been a long haul, and I appreciate it. Thanks, Brandon. But what I introduced back then, but I didn't want to push it forward because we didn't have the actuarial numbers, was that we would do a 15-year retirement, non-consecutive, meaning you could have, but you had to have 3 years to come back. You have to finish out with 3 years of employment. You couldn't come back, say you needed 1 week. You can't come back for 1 week and work and get your benefits. Since that time, and we thought it'd be a good recruiting tool to get people back interested. If you had, say, 12 years in the county, you left for childcare or whatever reason, you could come back and do 3 years and then get your health benefits. Since that time, the county executive, I think out of fairness, added something to that, which is a 10 and 10. You need 10 years with the county and 10 years with another retirement system, and that would give you your retirement benefits, also with a 3-year proviso. And you have, I think everybody has a resolution. The backup with the risk strategies is behind that. And I'd like to say that it's self-explanatory, but that would be a lie because it's actuarial tables. But we have people here that can explain it better than I can. So I'll pass it along to whoever wants to.
Speak to the finances.
Yeah, I mean, I can jump in here, and yeah, to give some color to the situation, I think the county executive saw what Legislator Mayo was doing, and in a similar vein of bringing people back to government service as a disincentive by making it cumulative, what the county executive thought was, we're interested in bringing people back into county service that have government experience in general, right? So something that we talked about is the cost of training, bringing people up to speed on not only county service, but just government operations. So the idea was to have that factor into people's employment, but we didn't want the previous non-county service to be apples to apples, because it's not, so that's why we want to make it a 20-year. And yeah, happy to answer any questions on the actuarial analysis. As you can see, there's the OPEB impact, and then there's the pay-as-you-go. Pay-as-you-go is the actual, the net operating budget, that's the impact. So you'll see here it's pretty negligible in terms of the net operating budget. And then the OPEB is really just a, an actuarial analysis is sort of, it typically looks at current employees and the financial impact of those benefits that are paid out. This tried to sort of take an educated guess on the financial impact on non-existent employees, but that may come back, right? So this is sort of a worst case scenario, but I do want to just clarify something, that these numbers, it's important to keep in mind that the large number that you see as the base case for OPEB, the 344 million, that is all the benefits that someone who retires will accrue in their entire lives, all of them that have left county service. So the number is going to seem really large, but that's not our net operating budget. So I just want to clarify that right off the bat. But again, happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions, Mr. Green?
Yes, I'm a little confused. Thanks, Madam Chair. 15 is, any way you can put together 15, you can get retirement? Is 10 and 10 a 20-year requirement, or?
Yes. So yeah. So that it's now. So if you're factoring in previous non-county service, it's 10 years. It's at least 10 years county service, and then at most 10 years non-county service. So it could be 15 years county service and pulling in the 5 from previous years.
That doesn't seem like 15's the number then.
So these are two different things, right? There are two separate rules. There's the 15 accumulative, and then there's the 10 and 10. So they're two separate things.
And Mark, if you look at the table,
Yeah.
on the left side, that would be the county executive, and on the right side, that would be the county. That would be mine, that I initially proposed, the total 15 non-consecutive.
Okay,
We've been joined by Mr. Drake and Mr. Kuhn for the record. And you talking about that which table are you speaking of? The actuarial table or that other one which has
Yeah, where's that?
15 or
Exhibit 1.
It's page 10 in the handout.
And in the meanwhile, while we all search for page 10.
Under what? In the?
Yeah, I don't see.
In Granicus, what is
10
it?
pages. I got 6, 4, and.
I don't think we have the tables in.
Yeah, I don't think so
Are
either.
they forms in?
Oh, where did you write that?
They are.
County section letter.
Service member barring 10 years of retirement from the state,
continuous meeting.
Yeah, that one's on, it's exhibit one of the second,
It's the, in the one
10925.
that's labeled cover letter.
Okay.
Oh,
The cover letter?
Strategy.
those are the actuarial table. There is another table that
Right,
had
it's
split up,
not-
marked 15 and then the 20. It was two separate lines and it showed how you followed each of them, but I can't find that one.
I just have a question.
You got another one?
The 3 years was, as you said, they just couldn't use a week or two and then just get back on there. There has to be a genuine commitment to come back. That's the whole purpose of the change.
They don't do, if they don't do the 3 years, then they.
Okay, and that made that sensible. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Did you have a question?
I do.
Okay.
So going back to the 1010, so the intent there is you have someone who's got 10 years into the state, and we think we could attract them to county service by saying to them, look, if you come to the county, if you only work 10 years in the county, you get the retirement health insurance, right?
Correct.
So do you know what the state deal is? How many years do you get health insurance as a state retiree?
It's all New York State with local retirement. I saw
Can't speak to the state or their specifics. I mean, if you look at the city of Albany, it's going to be different than the town of Colony as well. We just know that once people get those golden handcuffs, it's really hard to separate. So this is that incentive to encourage them to tell you
Yeah.
regardless of whatever.
Yeah, I just wondered if the state has, has it at all, or it's 25 years, or whatever it is. Just curious, because it would be a big incentive if you're working for the state and you're thinking about something as important as health insurance, and a retiree benefit, health insurance benefit's a big deal, so.
Absolutely. We'll get that information to
Yeah.
you, Chairman.
I can answer that somewhat, though, just because the different tiers in the state are somewhat.
Oh, okay.
I know tier 4, you have to be 62. Tier 3 used to be 55, I think, with 30 years age.
But you get the health insurance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions?
And just one more.
go
Sorry
ahead.
sorry to be a little bit.
Go ahead.
But on retirement, on state retirement, doesn't say part of the retirement is from county years and some from the state. Aren't they asked to pay their equivalent share into the retirement, or no?
So this isn't retirement, this is health.
I know, but I was wondering,
For the retirement, every year that you're employed in any entity that participates in the retirement system, you're then given that, your employer is given a bill by the state comptroller. He handles the money from there on out. That's why you can accrete from 5, 6 different government jobs over the years. They all aggregate together.
Yeah, it's
so
all
they're
New
all,
York State.
they're
But
all
this is set-
they
this is
pay their
separate
share.
apart from that.
They pay their share of the retirement.
They pay their share for that year that the employee worked at that wage level, things like that.
But we're not doing that with the healthcare benefit then? It's all county cost?
Well, healthcare has always been from any government entity where you retire from. We can't force the state to then.
So
give you the
that's
benefit that
clearly
we give.
different than retirement?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
2 separate items.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, Bernardo.
So, currently, what is the plan? If you, let's say you're not pulling any years from any other agency, what is the plan for how many years do you have to put in with the county to get the health insurance?
15 consecutive.
15. Consecutive, it has to be
You could
consecutive.
break from county service for up to 12 months.
Yeah, up to a year.
Okay, so you can break for up to 2 years and come back?
Up to 1 year.
Up to 1
As long
year.
as you come back within 1 year, it's considered, and then you start right back over at the same point.
So it's 15 right now. And this is going to keep it at 10 or 15?
15 if you're a county employee. But it's not, it doesn't have to be consecutive.
Okay.
You could be there for 10 and leave, come back for 5.
Makes sense.
I'm sure this is like a dumb private sector guy question, but if we hire somebody from Schenectady County and they've got 12 years of service there, then they work 3 here, does that qualify?
No.
No.
So up
Nothing
to
to do
10
with it.
years of non-county service.
Okay, so non-county could be any
So if it's 12, if
government
this
agency.
person has 12 years Schenectady County service, 10 years can be pulled in as the credit, and then you still need 10 county
You need 10 here, you gotta be here for 10.
But you could do, if you're here, if you're at the county for 12, you could pull in like 8. Cumulative.
As long as they're all with Albany County, you
At
get to
least-
keep all the years.
Yeah, at least 10 years county service.
At least,
most,
okay, I got it.
10
I got it.
years non-county service.
All right, fair enough, thank you.
Clear? Everybody good? Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Joyce, second by Mr. Ethier, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll go to number 3, amending the 2025 Albany County budget for the Albany County USA 250 Commission. Mr. Curley, one of them.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, members. I'm here on behalf of the Albany County AMREV 250 Commission, which was the commission created by this body last year. It kicked off in July by County Executive McCoy with the mandate to commemorate the events during the 8 years, commemorate the 250th anniversary of the events during the 8 years of the Revolutionary War from 1775 to 1783. And if you indulge me just a little bit of background on the commission so as to justify the need for this part-time staffing position. As we said, the focus is for it's an 8-year time frame, and that's important because many other parts of the country will be celebrating this observance and pretty much be done by 2026, as was the case during the bicentennial, when everything ended in 1776. But here, so many of the important events of the American Revolution in Albany County occurred later in the war, 1777 and later. So our mandate is a little longer. That also sort of dovetails with our primary objective and mission, which we are going after under the tagline of Albany County Crossroads of the Revolution. The commission has set out to basically make it so that our own residents and our nation finally understands and appreciates the real pivotal role that Albany County played during the Revolution. And we're doing this not just for educational purposes, so that we have a better grasp of our history and the world has a better grasp of our history, but really for economic development purposes as well. The objective is to create heritage tourism opportunities that will long outlast the life of this commission. And to that end, we meet every month. We meet at historic sites throughout the county, and we've already identified and have actually started work on several key initiatives. We're working with WMHT to help develop local broadcast programming on the events of the Revolution in our area. This dovetails with, everyone knows Ken Burns. Ken Burns is actually coming out this fall with a new multi-part series on the American Revolution. And he actually will be coming to Albany in September, and we'll be hosting him here. We were able to get him to come to the Palace Theater where he'll be giving a brief preview of his PBS, National PBS series. We're also have developed now a grant program for local entities in your districts, local historical societies, individuals, scholars, all designed to cast a spotlight on the particular role that Albany County played during the Revolution. One of the biggest items, and we're working with the County Executive's Office on this, is to see if Albany County can participate in the visit of the tall ships. Those of you who are my age or a little older can remember in 1976, during the bicentennial, the visit of the tall ships to New York Harbor was really the capstone of the nation's entire celebration. It was the thing that made Time Magazine, the cover of Time Magazine, for their bicentennial edition. They're redoing that for 2026. The tall ships from all over the world will be again convening in New York Harbor on July the 4th, 2026. And the plan is to have as many of the ships that can make it under the Hudson bridges come up the Hudson River. And if we can do our work, they'll come as far as Albany. And in fact, we have our next commission meeting next month is at the Port of Albany to begin discussions to see if we can't host that. We're also neck deep in work to commemorate the Battle of the Normanskill, which is the only battle that was fought in Albany County in August of 1777. The town of Guilderland is interested in their parkland totally surrounds the Battle of Normanskill site, although the site itself is not public land. Hopefully that will change, and we're working with local scholars, Aaron Mayer, who's done a lot of really good work on the Battle of the Normanskill. And then as other opportunities present themselves in terms of a heritage trail linking the historic sites in the South End, Schuyler Mansion, in Arbor Hill, Pembroke Mansion, with Battle of the Normanskill leading out to the Switskill Park, which happily or soon the county will have in its as part of its Parks and Recreation portfolio, and that borders the site of the Dietz Massacre, which was the bloodiest event in Albany County during the Revolution as well. And then leading on naturally to the sites in Schoharie County, where there were a number of. So we've got a lot of work to do, and we're doing a lot of work. And as these opportunities and obligations increase, we're realizing we really can't get it done with just a group of commission members. We have 9 incredibly talented people, including some really stellar appointees from the legislature and the Black Caucus specifically. But it's the type of stuff that doesn't lend itself to that kind of the day-to-day. I was struck by Chairman Cunningham last night. You referenced in connection with another commission that someone's got to do the staff work, someone's got to do the agenda, someone's got to do the legwork, and we're definitely feeling the need for that at the AMREV 250 Commission. So what we're asking for is to reallocate a portion of the previous appropriation for our commission. We're not asking for any additional money, just to reallocate to fund a $20,000 part-time position to staff the work of the commission that would work under the newly designated county historian, Jack McEnany, and enable us to really take advantage of a tremendous opportunity to finally let Albany County take its rightful place. Just by comparison, our friends up in Saratoga County, our budget is $60,000 a year. Up in Saratoga County, they're spending $300,000 a year. With several full-time staff members working to take advantage of this opportunity. Again, not just for history's sake, but to drive economic development today and in the future. So I'd respectfully request that we be able to reallocate a portion of our earlier appropriation for these purposes.
Is that job created already? Somebody doing that job?
No, and I should also point out, we don't have anyone specific in mind. In fact, I spoke with Majority Leader Feeney on that point and asked for his help in identifying suitable candidates, and of course we'll run it through the regular process by which the legislative leadership would determine the position.
And for how long of a period do you think that might be?
It really would be subject to appropriation, so it would be, if we have to come back every year to justify the activities that the commission is doing, and so it would be subject to the year-to-year appropriation for the overall commission work.
So it's part-time for $20,000 based on every year.
That's right.
I make a motion.
We're glad you're finished. Does anybody else have any questions?
I was seconding the motion.
Oh, you were seconding? I just want to be clear. Question. Joanne.
Yeah, I'm not a member of the committee, but thank you.
Go for it.
Are there any staff in the historian's office right now?
There's not.
And is the historian supportive of this?
Yes, he is.
And how much is the commission working with Discover Albany and kind of the tourism and our economic development arms, and what kind of
Good question.
connection?
Very closely. In fact, our meeting last month was at Discover Albany headquarters. They've been tremendously helpful in providing graphic artists and that type of sort of get off the ground support. And also, Maeve McEnany from Discover Albany is the vice chair of the commission. So we're working very, very closely. And again, I think that makes sense given our focus on economic development. This is not. We decided 2 things early on. Paul Stewart, who was one of our commissioners, said, you know what, we shouldn't just focus on battles and generals, right? Let's focus on the people, the everyday men, women, that actually made the sacrifice here in Albany County, and that has total buy-in with the whole commission. And, you know, and the other thing is we're not just gonna throw parties, right? In fact, we're not throwing any parties. You know, remember the tricentennial, which was great, and there were a lot of parties, but there really wasn't much left afterwards that made any real sort of lasting impact. We want to make sure that we have some legacy that stays behind. So, and again, so that, you know, when people, and heritage tourism is an increasingly growing business, right? And I would dare say right now, not enough people, when they're making their sort of heritage tourism choices, and there's a lot of people that choose to plan their vacations around trips to Gettysburg or Charlottesville, Virginia, and right now Albany isn't near the top of those lists. And given all that we have to offer and all of our history, we should be.
So one more question. So I ran into Aaron Mayer in the airport once, and he was telling me about all of his work, particularly related to African American history, Revolutionary War history. Is that sort of a lens that the commission is also making sure they're covering?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, at our third meeting, Aaron came and presented to us specifically on his work. Yeah, and again, I don't think there's any sort of particular representative, but Paul Stewart is one of the commissioners, and he's from the Stephen and Harriet Myers Underground Railroad Center. But again, I think all the commissioners share the sense that you know, other entities will talk about the generals and the battles, right? This is an opportunity to talk about you know, the people and people in Albany County really suffered during the Revolution and sacrificed a great deal. You know, we don't get the attention of, the battle wasn't necessarily fought here, although I would say it was Albany County at the time it was fought in Stillwater, but we lost that to Saratoga County. But the shame is all our traditional focus on generals and battles has made us overlook the real sacrifice that sort of everyday people, farmers in my district, in the Helderbergs, took all of their produce and just left enough for the bare subsistence that they could feed their family for the winter, and everything else they packed in wagons and sent up to Saratoga to feed the troops. So yes, I think you'll see kind of a different type of focus and commemoration this time than in years past.
I have a question.
Okay.
How many hours do you expect this employee to be working?
I think 17 and a half is the sort of standard sort of part-time, 17 and a half hours per week.
What is the minimum wage for Albany County?
For the county, it's $15 an hour, I recall, and then for the rest of the world, it's less.
I think it just went up to 15.
Did it go 15?
Yeah.
Was it January it went up? Yeah. So we got to beat that now. 15.
And obviously, no one's going to get wealthy doing this work. This is a labor of love. This is a labor of passion. One of our commissioners is also Commissioner Jennifer Dorsey, who heads the McCormick Study for the Center of the American Revolution at Siena. So we're hopeful that perhaps she might know some people that would be interested. But as we said, we have no one particularly in mind or even identified at this point. We just know that we need to staff or opportunities that are really going to fall through the cracks.
Well, if you need any help recruiting, let us know. A lot of us run in those circles. Everybody
Absolutely.
that you named so far. So.
Absolutely.
Your question? No? Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, thanks for doing it.
Thank you, Legislator Purdy.
Now we're going to make $20. All right, let me see, where are we? I guess I'll just take a motion to adjourn then. Jeff, second Mr. Grimm, thank you very much, all in favor? Look at that, on the money, 6:30. Just in time to play chairs.